Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tracy's Week in Review. Of course, I'm Tracy, and I'll be with you for the next little bit just to go over this week and my observations from this week. But before we get started, got a couple of bills I have to pay. Subscribe to the channel. I now have 359 subscribers, I believe. I believe I have 359. I'm going to double check that real quick. Probably should have checked this before the show went on, but oh well. We'll know this here in just a moment. But I believe the number is 359. Yeah, I'm right. 359 subscribers. So make yourself the 360th subscriber. Subscribing is literally free. You can also hit the notification bell to be notified about when I go live. Support me on Patreon. Patreon support helps me to do what it is I need to do to keep the lights up, to keep everything going. Support starts at $2 a month. That's 50 cents a week. You could spend 50 cents on something like candy, but wouldn't you rather spend it on something that's sustainable like this channel? Visit my merchandise store. There will be a t-shirt giveaway contest next Saturday on next Saturday's show. If you're a subscriber, you already got notified. I'm doing a show next Saturday, and there will be a t-shirt giveaway contest next Saturday. Follow Tracy Media Group on Facebook. We still need one more person to go live on Rumble. Follow us on Blue Sky. And I forgot one little announcement here. Let me put it in before I get to it. Let me put it in real quick. I don't know why I keep forgetting this. Of course, follow me on Blue Sky at Hi, It's Me, Tracy. That's HIITSMETRACY. Mark your calendars. Mark them now. Friday, May the 2nd, 2025. I am sponsoring a channel fundraiser. Yes, my channel needs to raise $700. $600 of that will go to pay for StreamYard. StreamYard recently booted its cost up to $50 a week, and I am on Struggle Street trying to pay for that. So I will be sponsoring a fundraiser. We'll have song association, we'll have trivia, we'll have quizzes, we'll have the whole bit. We might throw in some word problems. So join me for a special show on Friday, May the 2nd. There is the link if you want to contribute now. I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, this money is not for myself. This is to pay for StreamYard for the next year so that this channel can continue. We're growing. It's a little slow in the terms of the growth, but that's okay. But I still need help to continue that growth. Rude by Way MC. Oh my gosh, we have seen each other. What is this? The third day in a row we've seen each other. Like, you were with me on my first podcast on Saturday. You were with me, of course, with Justice is Here. Now you're here with me with this one. Good to have you, but remember to do as he says: like, share, subscribe, share, and comment. I would greatly appreciate it. Yes, I realized I was at 359. Help us finally to get 35 likes and 15 shares. So this week has been kind of a slow week. And first, we're going to start off with rest in peace to George Foreman, who passed away. That was sad, right? Because here he is, he fought people like Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali. Then he retires. Then he makes a comeback, wins the heavyweight championship again. Then he moves over into selling George Foreman grills. Very inspirational story, right? And it was sad to hear of his passing. I know all of his sons are named George. Like all 5 of his sons are named George. So there's George, I guess the first, second, third, fourth, fifth. And I think his daughter is named Georgia. I think. I'm almost certain. I'm going to check. Is George Foreman's daughter named George? No. Okay. So his daughter's names are Natalie, Leola, Machina, Georgetta, and the late Frida. So he had a daughter that passed before he did. Oh, that's sad. But he did have 5 sons with the same name, George Edwin Foreman. That was his name. Now that was Ali was stripped of his title. They're giving some background stories. So he had like a total of 10 children. Yeah, he had 10 children. He had 5 sons and 5 daughters. He had a lot of children. Oh my goodness, he had a whole lot of children. So rest in peace to George Foreman. Like I said, I was sad to hear about it because, like I said, here he is. He's fought Frazier, he's fought Ali. He retires, he comes back. He's wins the championship again, and then parlays that into the George Foreman grill. Now, I never owned a George Foreman grill myself. I know a lot of people did. I didn't, but I just remembered like his humanitarian work and all of that. So had to get that out of the way. Condolences to his family. Of course, all of us fans. Just made me a little bit sad. I'm also going to talk a whole lot about the tour that Bernie and AOC are doing and what's really behind that. I'm also going to talk about the astronauts, and I'll talk about that. The astronauts that were stuck in space are finally home. Those astronauts, and I'll get their names here in just a moment. Let's see. I'm going to get their names here. What was the name of the astronauts that were stuck in space? Okay, so astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams were stuck in space for more than 9 months. They finally made it back to Houston. Oh my goodness. They have been there basically because they got stuck. It was supposed to be like a 2-week mission and it turned into a 9-month. Like, think about the toll of being in outer space for that long. Like, the toll is going to take on their bodies. Like, once they reach, because they've been like weight free for like 9 months, right? They're out there, they're weight free 9 months. They can't do anything. They have no weight on them. Now they come back to Earth and they have weight on them. their bodies are gonna suffer. I mean, I hope everything goes, recovery is gonna be slow. I want them to be in, obviously. But why were they stuck out there that long? What was preventing them from coming back? And that's what I want to know is I'm trying to look here to see, can I see an article about why it was that they were stuck in space. And according to Google, because Google is my friend, but YouTube isn't because I can't share the videos, but that's okay. So according to this, astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore were left stranded in the ISS due to a failed Boeing spacecraft. Wait a minute, let me go here. Okay. It says here, they departed the International Space Station early on Tuesday morning and splashed down off the coast of Florida. So they didn't come back to Houston. They left Houston, came back to Florida. Okay. Boeing Sterling, their original return spacecraft, was deemed unsafe for journey home, forcing the astronauts to stay in space much longer than planned. Why were they stuck in space? That's literally what I want to know. The two astronauts were stranded on board the International Space Station ISS are 59-year-old Sunita Williams, or Sonny, and Barry Butch Wilmore, 62, both veteran NASA-trained space travelers. Williams is the current commander of the ISS, a retired United States naval officer, joining NASA in 1988. Over her career, she has spent 322 days in space, completed 9 spacewalks. She was previously held the record for the most spacewalks by a female astronaut until 2017, when that title went to Peggy Whitson, who completed 10, but they don't tell me why they were stuck in space. Wilmore first flew to space in 2009 on the boards. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, but tell me why they were stuck in space. Like, apparently, from what I'm eventually reading off of this article, is it was deemed not safe for them to travel. You couldn't repair what was traveled. And get this, everybody, get this. They were not paid overtime at all. They were not paid overtime. The trip was only supposed to last like 2 weeks. They were up there 9 months, and they got no overtime for that. And I want to read kind of like what damage this is going to do to them, because I think we need to be aware of this, right? Let me go back to this. But they still didn't tell why they were why the spacecraft was deemed irreparable. Oh, and it was Elon Musk, that SpaceX, that got them back, not NASA, that put them up there in the first place. 9 months. Oh my goodness. Okay. What are the effects of being in outer space for 9 months? Okay, so I got this again from AI. So AI Google says spending 9 months in space can lead to significant psychological changes, or I'm assuming that psychological changes, including muscle and bone loss, vision impairment, fluid redistribution, along with potential long-term health risks like increased cancer risk, cognitive decline. Oh my gosh, these people should be paid like $1 million each, and I don't even think that's it. So they'll also have muscular skeletal system damage. They'll have muscular atrophy. Could have. We don't wish we wish them well. We want them to have a speedy recovery, but they could possibly be facing bone density, something called space legs. Now, space legs is astronauts may experience disorientation and difficulty with balance due to sudden return to Earth's gravity. Like I said, they're in outer space, they're weightless. Now they're coming back to Earth where they have weight. They're going to have trouble walking. So they're probably going to have to undergo some type of physical therapy to get over that. Then they're going to have reduced blood volume. They may, and again, these things could happen. Not saying they are going to happen. They could happen. They could have orthostatic intolerance. Astronauts may experience dizziness or lightheadedness when standing up after returning to Earth, as their bodies struggle to regulate blood pressure in the presence of gravity. They could have in fluid redistribution, body fluid shift towards the head and upper body, leading to moon face appearance and other symptoms. In immune system changes, including a weakened immune system, making them susceptible to infections upon their return. Cognitive function. Studies suggest that the long-term space travel may negatively impact cognitive function. Radiation exposure. Now, this makes sense. Astronauts are exposed to high levels of radiation in space, which could cause the risk of cancer and other health problems. Psychological effects. Of course, they were isolated for 9 months. So they may be feeling isolated, potentially leading to stress, anxiety, and depression. And this last thing called baby feet. Astronauts may experience softening of the soles of their feet due to lack of pressure on their feet in space. Because again, when they're in space, they're not walking, they're weightless. Wow. All of that, and they got no overtime. What do you all think the pay for them should be, right? What do you think would be a compensation, like all those things that I read that they could lose? Or do you think there should be no pay because they knew the risk that they were taking? I mean, these are past astronauts, so they know the risk of going into outer space. I don't think they were prepared for that to be 9 months. But that's a lot, right? That's a lot to just kind of impact. Again, you're out there with no gravity. You got to come to Earth and get used to being a part of gravity and your body being subject to gravity. That's a lot. So let me know what you guys think about that, because I wanted to discuss it, because again, they got no overtime pay. I want to see what they actually did get paid. Because it's clearly, to me, I think the government, we sent them up there. They should be compensated for that. What did the astronauts who stayed in space for 9 months get paid? Okay, so here it is. This is probably the worst part, I think. For their 286 days in space, Wilmore and Willis will each receive an additional $1,430 in their annual salary. NASA reports that a typical astronaut earns only, and this is ridiculous, also $150,200. $152,258 per year. So that's their salary per year. And then they get only $1,430 on top of that. Are you kidding me? That isn't even enough. I mean, obviously they can't spend their check. Like, do they get it? Like, do they get their checks like while they're in space? Or do they get it like before they go or after they come? Because they can't get it while they're in space. They can't spend it, right? So, they're not getting their checks in space. So my assumption would be that they're probably getting the money when they land and like when they can actually spend it. Because I can't imagine that they're getting paid while they're on the spaceship itself. Again, where the heck they gonna spend it? But they only get 100. I'm just gonna say 153,000 just to make myself feel better, and then they only get 1430 in overtime, not 1430 every single day. $1,430 extra. Are you kidding me? This isn't even enough. Like I said, we sent them there on that mission. They should get at least $2 million each. At least. I don't know if that's enough after reading all these side effects, but oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I wonder if they're going to do interviews though. Trump says he will pay for the astronauts overtime. Well, $1,400, shoot. If I had it, I'd give it to him. Just make them, you kept them up there all that time. Exactly. Hello, Theus. Hard being a government employee, and now they likely to get like exactly like you stuck them up there for 9 months when the whole trip was supposed to take like 2 weeks. Then you don't give them enough salary because heck, you're going in outer space, right? It's not just some little, they is these two deserve, in my opinion, they should get at least $2 million each, at least. And after reading all those side effects and what's happening, what could happen to their body, of course, we hope none of those things happen. They're going to have the gravity effect. That's not going to go away. You can't be in outer space 9 months, come back to Earth, and just start walking around. That's just not going to happen. But I don't want any of the cognitive effects. I don't want any of those things. I want them to live healthy lives, live prosperous lives. But you can't even give them overtime pay? I mean, yes, there's a course of thought that thinks, yes, they signed up for this. Yes, they knew what they were in store for. They signed up for it. Oh, well. But on the other hand, they only thought the trip was going to last a couple of weeks. They were not prepared to be up there 9 months. Personally, me, I'm suing. Yep, you kept me up there 9 months, and then you couldn't even send NASA to get me. You had to send Elon Musk's SpaceX to come get me because you wasn't even capable of getting me. You couldn't do it. Are you kidding me? I'm talking about me. I would personally sue. They probably can't. And who's going to play them in the movie? So help me. This is going to become a movie. I don't know who's going to play them. But this will be a movie. Guaranteed, trust and believe this will be a movie. This will be a theatrical release. And I'm trying to look at see who could possibly play them. I'm guaranteed. Is there a movie about the two astronauts that were caught in space for 9 months? So I'm just gonna go Suni Williams. Suni Williams. And they're not doing it right. I'm gonna have to type it in because I'm trying to think who could play them because I know it's gonna be a movie. I know it's gonna be a movie, and Sunita Williams. Let me see what she looks like. She kind of looks like what was the name of that lady that ran as the Republican governor? Nikki Haley. She kind of looks like her, to be honest. Um, and oh my goodness. Oh, NASA didn't send them up there. That was SpaceX that sent them up there. Okay, so yeah, she kind of does look like. I mean, I'm googling her picture. She kind of does look like Nikki Haley. Let's see what Butch. I don't know who could play her. Oh, you could get any guy to play this guy. Uh, you could get anybody to play this guy. Because there will be movies. Who's gonna get the first interview with them? Because everybody wants to hear like what the heck is it like to spend 9 months in space. Um, so I'm gonna have to apologize to NASA because I thought NASA sent them up there. This was a SpaceX exploration. Did NASA send those two astronauts who were stuck in space for 9 months? They're NASA astronauts. Um, and apparently, because politics plays a role in everything. According to Elon Musk, and I don't know how much weight I put on this, he says that SpaceX could have brought the stranded astronauts home after a few months at most, but the offer was rejected by the Biden administration. Now, I don't know. So you're saying Elon is still. I'm trying to find out if these astronauts went up on a NASA exploration or was it SpaceX? So I'm trying to find that out as we speak. Did SpaceX send those two astronauts who got stuck in space for 9 months? It keeps saying NASA. So I guess I was right because they keep referring to them as NASA astronauts. They aren't saying, they keep saying at NASA astronauts. So if anybody out there knows, did NASA send them up there for 9 months or was it SpaceX that sent them up there for 9 months? Because I literally don't know. But Elon stiffened his employees. Yes. I mean, he's known for doing that. Um, Tesla cars catch on fire. No. Tesla dealership set on fire. Okay, so I got something to say to the people who are setting Tesla dealerships on fire. That's not how you protest. I mean, I'm no fan of Elon's, and I'm just really not. But when you do something like that, that just makes protesters look stupid. You cannot go around setting dealerships on fire to protest. You can uh, write letters, you could do public demonstrations, not setting things on fire. But this thing about when you set something on fire, um, to protest. What is it that you think you're achieving? Because I understand that you're upset. Elon doesn't approve of unions. You don't like the fact that what he's doing with Doge. I get it. I agree with you. But setting something on fire, especially a vehicle, especially, I think his cars don't have gas in them. His are like energy saving cars. I don't get what you think it's going to accomplish. And I want to talk about that because, I'm trying to read this article about 80 Tesla vehicles at a car dealership in Canada. Oh, it did this not happen in the United States. Were damaged, authorities said, as U.S. Attorney Generals announced charges. But it was in Canada. Okay, whatever. On Wednesday, police in Hamilton, Ontario, were called to a dealership in Wentworth Street for reported damage to vehicles that had been parked outside. The vehicles had deep scratches, punctured tires, and other damage. Authorities reviewed. How come the U.S. is investigating? If the crime took place in Canada, right? Because it says these vandalism acts took place in Canada. Why is were they U.S. citizens? Like, were they U.S. citizens and then they went to Canada? Because, like, why would the U.S. be investigating this? And they're calling them domestic terrorists. But again, they're in Canada, right? So if they're in Canada, because a domestic terrorist, from my understanding, is somebody like the January 6 people. Those are domestic terrorists. They attack their own government. Those are examples to me of a domestic terrorist. I don't know if Canada counts as a domestic terrorist. But I don't understand why they're in Canada, but the U.S. is taking over the like, did Canada say, okay, you U.S. take over the investigation? Were they Americans that went to Canada, destructed the property, and then came back? Like, why is the U.S. investigating something that took place in Canada, and why are they being called domestic terrorists? I don't understand that at all. That's not making any sense to me. Okay, maybe now I'm going to answer my own question because I literally just read this. One person was accused of being armed with an AR-15 and throwing 8 Molotov cocktails at the Tesla dealership. Okay, in Salem, Oregon. Okay, now that I can understand, you're a domestic terrorist because Oregon is in the United States. What I understand is this one in Canada. That's where I'm not understanding. But the vehicles had deep scratches, punctured tires, and other damage, Hamilton police said in a news release. Authorities are reviewing security video and asking for the public's help. Similar incidents have happened across the United States in recent weeks. On Thursday, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced charges against 3 violent Tesla arsonists after attacks in Colorado, Oregon, and South Carolina. The days of committing crimes without consequences have ended. Like, okay, don't get that. Bondi said in a statement. Let this be a warning. If you join this wave of domestic terrorism against Tesla properties, the Department of Justice will put you behind bars. Bondi referred to domestic terrorism, but no one has been charged with domestic terrorism, which is not a specific federal crime. One person that was accused of being armed with suppressed AR-15 rifles throwing a Molotov cocktail at Tesla dealerships in Salem, Oregon, the Justice Department said. The person arrested in Charleston, South Carolina incident is alleged to have wait a minute, this don't even make sense. The person arrested in Charleston, South Carolina incident is to have written, profane. It says written wrote, but we're going to just go with written, profane messages against President Trump around Tesla's charging stations before using the Molotov cocktail to ignite the station, the news release said. In Loveland, Colorado, a person was arrested and accused of trying to light the Tesla vehicles on fire. Again, what is it that you're accomplishing with this? I get it. Elon and Trump are evil. I got it. But there's got to be another way that you can protest. And I know some people out there to the left of me are going to disagree and say, no, you got to use every means. You're destroying property, but not people. Think about it. If somebody is around those vehicles, let's just say it was at a dealership. Somebody's at that dealership looking for a Tesla. I don't know why, because they're overpriced, but let's just say they are. Now you're putting them in danger because you want to protest. There are other ways to protest. I'm not sure. I know I don't agree with this mass chaotic, we're just going to protest and we're going to burn things down. That's a figurative thing. When I say burn it down, I'm not talking about going out and burning property or putting people's lives in danger. I'm talking about getting rid of the system, rebuilding something new. I'm not talking about setting cars on fire, proving nothing, and now you got federal charges on you. And they didn't release their names, thank goodness, because the people who are accused, they are innocent until they are proven guilty in a court of law. So I didn't put the Tesla thing on my list of what I wanted to talk about. But let me know what you guys think, right? Let me know what you guys think. Am I just off here? Am I just, I'm calling for diplomacy and for two people that have no diplomacy? Am I right in this? Am I wrong in this? What is it that I'm thinking? I'm trying to find something here, and I don't know where it's at. Oh, there it is. Hold on a second, guys. I got to get this. Hold on a second. So I'd like to know what you guys think about this. Again, so we've talked about George Foreman passing. We've talked about the Tesla fires, and we've talked about the astronauts being stuck in space for 9 months. I still can't believe they're not getting overtime payment. Next thing I wanted to talk about is and this is kind of like a larger discussion. So it's the part I'm talking about next is part of a larger discussion I want to have. So Trump signed another executive order basically dismantling the Department of Education. And of course, everybody is in disarray. They don't know what it means. I know HBCUs are not getting as much money as they used to, yet Black people went out and voted for Trump, and I'm not understanding why. But what does the Department of Education, what does that executive order actually mean, right? So will it mean, and what I've thought, well, let me put it this way. What does the Department of Education's going away mean? Here's what Google just said when I asked that question. So it states here, the executive order signed by Donald Trump directs the Secretary of Education to take all necessary steps to facilitate the closure of the Department of Education and return education to the states. I'm going to tell you why this is a bad idea here in just a moment. While continuing to ensure the effective and uninterrupted services of programs and benefits on which Americans rely. That's a contradictory statement, right? Because it says here, you're going to return the power to the states. Where are the states getting the money from, right? I live in Indiana. And when they say education, I'm assuming they're talking about pre-secondary education. They're talking about primary education, post-secondary, et cetera, master's all the way up. So they're talking about from kindergarten all the way up to doctorate, right? States like Indiana get its money from property taxes. So in Indiana, our governor has submitted a proposal to just get rid of property taxes or lower them. If you lower the property taxes, then where are the schools, districts like IPS or Indianapolis Public School System, where would they get their money from? It would be the federal government. Ideally, the Department of Education would give each state a certain amount to go for education. So if they're not funding education at a federal level, and if you live in a state like mine where the governor is talking about lowering property taxes, where are schools supposed to get the money to operate? This is a ploy, to me, in my opinion, to privatize public education across the board. I posted a video on the DOE change. There are serious consequences. You're right. Contradictory. Yeah, it's a contradictory step. You're going to turn it over to the government, but then you're going to execute the program. You can't do that. It takes money to execute those things, right? I don't. It's like some things in my mind I don't get. Because again, if you live in a state like mine, yes. Private schools and a return to official segregated academies. I think that's academies. This is just, to me, a ploy to just rid our educational system of public schools and have them taken over by charter schools and private schools. That's what I think it is. Because it doesn't make sense to me. Where would an Indianapolis public school get its money from? If the property taxes are lower, they're not going to get as much money. They can't pay teachers to come in and teach because, teachers have to make a living too. Then the students start to fail tests, which why are you judging students based off of one test? I don't even know, but they still do that for some reason. Now the schools are getting lower test scores. You're decreasing their funds there. Now, here comes charter school to rescue the public school. And now you have these predetermined curriculums that strip Black history, strip the contributions of our indigenous population, strip the contributions of our Hispanic populations. This is a whole bigger thing than what I think people are getting at. And what I'm getting to is this. Somebody out there, ACLU, I'm calling you out. Y'all need to be taking this to court. I know the Supreme Court has like all the judges that Trump appointed, blah, blah, blah. You got to do something. We cannot stand by why this happens. I'm hoping this is going to be challenged in court. I still question whether the Doge, they don't care if you learn or wait a minute. They don't care if you learn or cannot make a living. Import or outsource the labor they need and integrate AI. Let the poor be poor. Elections have consequences. They do. Doesn't mean I was going to vote for Kamala, but they do have consequences. They absolutely do. I agree with that. But this is just, it's so confusing. And, I have a sibling who's a teacher, and I'm wondering, well, she teaches at a private institution. But what happens to the teachers union? What happens to who's going to clean the schools? Who's going to, you have teachers now that are buying school children's supplies out of their own pockets. You have it where cereal companies are like, if you take the tops off, they'll give you dollars to buy your children's school supplies. That ought to tell you how messed up the funding for public education is when you got to pull off tops off a dang old cereal box to get funding for school supplies for your children. That should already be paid for. You want children to write, but you're not giving them. Yes, I said you should not have it where children or parents have to go out and buy school supplies or school uniforms. But I would say why you have uniforms in the first place. But hey, that's just me. I'm just talking. But you have that whole system that's set up, and it's set up to fail. They want public schools to fail so that they can take them over and, like they said, replace them with AI jobs, which is why I'm advocating, hey, you better start a side hustle. Because we don't know, AI can take over my job, especially because I work in a call center. I'm 2 steps away, right? And I don't know if they think about what happens when a large group of people become poor. They don't care, obviously. But don't they know that when people don't have the resources, they're going to use any means necessary to get those resources? More violence, more theft, more crime. This type of movement increases that. If the children of tomorrow don't have jobs, bump that. If the people of today don't have jobs to go to, we're going to do something to make sure we eat. We may not like the fact that we got to steal from the store, and I'm not saying stealing is right. It certainly is not. But desperate times call for desperate measures, right? People are going to do what they believe necessary to survive. And you're going to have this whole big pool of unemployed people. And I don't know. We can't wait for the Democratic Party to do something about it, because obviously they don't know what a voice is. They don't know what tours are. They have no idea what a commercial is. They have no idea. I mean, they have canvassers. They could literally send canvassers out to Trump won districts and educate people about, hey, this is how this change is going to hurt you. Why did you vote for this? You need to vote different. Will they do that? Nope, because they're in on it. The inability of the Democratic Party to act led to Trump. You don't have to agree with me. I literally don't care. Their inability to act when they actually had power 4 years ago, that's what led to Trump. They play on the same team, and they want the same consequence. Look at the pathetic excuse that Chuck Schumer and those 9 other Democrats gave for voting for Trump's bill to stop the government from closing. Let it shut down. It's not going to shut down for more than 3 days. Let it shut down. But nope, you just went along with it because we're fighting every day. You're not fighting every day. You're conceding every day. You're capitulating every day. Every day you're saying, oh, well. And then you get Bernie, 83-year-old Bernie, and I'm not being ageist here, but I'm about to be ageist here. You get 83-year-old Bernie, you get him out of the saddle. You get AOC out here touring these districts, talking about, oh, we need to stop the oligarchy. And the people who you wanted us to vote for, Harris and Biden, they're a part of that same oligarchy. Stop trying to get people back in the Democratic Party. We're not coming back. We not coming back. We don't want to come back. You were never for us. You're a part of this system. You wanted the public Department of Public Education gone. You wanted all those federal jobs to be cut. You just put it on Trump so you don't get the blame for it. There's a clip of Joe Biden and former President Obama talking about, there's wasteful spending in government. And maybe there is. But to cut possibly 1 million jobs, putting 1 million people on the unemployment, it's not like jobs are just out here flowing and everybody got one and we all just doing great. No, these people were making good money. And now, there's reports that some of them are not getting their severance packages that they were promised. Instead of looking at things like offering early retirement, looking at how the program actually works to see, hey, does this even need to be cut? You just start firing away. I wonder why Elon Musk doesn't cut his government contracts, right? You haven't heard SpaceX getting cut. You haven't heard funding to Amazon, although I know he's not a part of Amazon getting cuts. You haven't heard any of those taking any type of cuts. But you have to. We had to see the Department of Education gone. We had to see veterans now not getting the services they need, possibly Social Security being impacted. And still, Bernie and AOC continue to tour the country and not say what the problem is. When your own party screws up, call them out. That's literally all I'm asking. That is literally all I'm asking. I'm saying leave the Democrat and Republican parties ultimately. But if you just gonna stay, okay, I guess. At least have the decency to say, hey, we're in power. We need to take this power and act on it. But instead, what you're doing, and I can see it clear as day, is you're hoping things go so bad that by the time the midterms come, we'll just vote Democrat. I got some news for you. Honey, you ain't winning the primaries neither. I really hate to break your bubble. I really hate to tell you, you're not winning the primaries either. You're not winning the midterms. Sorry. You're not winning the midterms. It's over. You probably won't be in power for another 12 or 13, maybe 12 to 16 years. Maybe. You're not winning. And could I be wrong? Sure, I could be wrong. But they're not doing anything but giving us neoliberal, fascist, milquetoast, I'm using all the words that I said I wouldn't use, candidates to run for president. Nobody wants Pete Buttigieg as president, not because he's gay. That is not, no, don't even say you're being homophobic. Nope. He gets money from AIPAC just like the rest of them. And plus, I don't think America is ready for an openly gay president that has a husband. We don't live in that country. Again, I could be wrong. But you're telling me basically the point of that tour is, hey, you need to return to the Democratic Party so that when we get power, we don't do anything with it. We don't advocate for a $15 minimum wage, which we're off of 15, by the way. We don't say to the railroad strikers, hey, you can't strike, and we're gonna make it so that you can't strike for better wages. We're not gonna just say, only senior citizens can get insulin, one medication for $35. But guess what? It doesn't start till 2026. You have to be 65 years old. Nope. I just got bad news for you. You're not winning the midterms. You will not win the midterms. Now, could I be wrong? Sure. I was a person that said that Trump was going to win re-election in 2020. Yeah, 2020. I was wrong. Because I thought it's hard to be an incumbent. But I don't know if Democrats want to win the midterms. I don't know if they want to win the midterms. I think they like losing because them not being in power means we can just point and say them, and not have to do anything but be the opposition party. Problem is, they're doing a bad job of being the opposition party. Like, they're doing a bad job in both arenas, right? They're not doing a good job in being the opposition party, and they're not doing a good job in telling people, hey, you need to be voting for us in 2026. They're doing neither. And that's why I think they not winning the midterms. I can't see it. I could be totally wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but I could be wrong. And in 4 years, Bernie AOC will be telling you to vote for some corporate tied, billionaire supported Democrat. Literally. That you can count on. That you can bet on. That is guaranteed. It's guaranteed that they are going to do it, right? They can't do anything else. This is why I scratch my head when people tell me to vote Democrat, because I don't understand it. Like, I would never vote Republican. I haven't voted Republican maybe 20 years, maybe. I think I voted for like maybe 2 Republicans my entire time voting. But I voted for a whole lot of Democrats, a whole lot. And I'm not going to go back because they've proven themselves. When they have power, they do nothing. And then when they don't have power, they do nothing. And like I said, I literally don't think they want to win. I don't think they have it in them. I think they like being the party of losers because it gives them something to fundraise off of. I wonder how long they think they're going to get away with this. And like, when will Democratic voters wake up and be like, because you Democratic voter trying to take over party is not going to happen. Because they're too embedded with corporate interests. They're too much embedded with APAC and Big Pharma and Big Oil. They're not going to let you change the party. You will not get to change the party at all. You won't get to change it. You're not going to change it. It's not going to happen. Leave them and form something new, because I believe we need a bunch of third parties. We just need third parties to run. Give people more choices, right? And then maybe people will start to engage. But those are my thoughts. And how I think they are going to, how things are going to play out. So I'm about to wrap her up. Let's see. Remember to subscribe. I now have 359 subscribers. You guys, I was at 334 like last month, and I've gained so many subscribers. I thank you all for subscribing. I thank you. You know, the goal for this year is 1,000 subscribers by the time 2025 ends. So remember to subscribe. It is free. You don't have to worry about paying to subscribe. However, if you do have a couple of dollars to spare each month, I am still taking Patreons, which I'm trying to come up with a new name for my supporters whenever I get a Patreon supporter. Patreon support starts at $2 a month. And that's 50 cents a week. That's going to go towards getting new lights, which I desperately need. Support my official merchandise store. Remember, there will be a t-shirt giveaway on my Saturday show next week. Follow Tracy Media Group on Facebook. Remember, I need one more follower to go live on Rumble. So just remember, if you haven't, to go on Rumble and follow. Follow me at Blue Sky at Hi, It's Me, Tracy. That's HIITSMETRACY. Mark your calendars. Mark your calendars. I said calendar in the type, but it's calendars. May the 2nd, 2025 at 8 p.m. I am sponsoring a channel fundraiser. My goal is to raise $700 so that I can pay for my StreamYard for the whole year. Again, the StreamYard went up on its hosting, and I am struggling to pay for it myself. So I thought, you know what? Those who don't ask for help don't get help, and I definitely need help. So remember to support me on that day. Nobody else has added a new comment. I'm trying to see. Nobody's added a new comment. So with that, I will see you on Saturday show. The Saturday show, our topic will be best stand-up comic turned actor. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. And always, 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 always get in the fight. Find something worth fighting for. Have a great evening. I'm going to do the outro, and I'll see you later.